Well, hello and welcome to the Exponential Australia Church Leaders Podcast. We are so glad that you have joined us again on the podcast today as we continue to dive into all range and manner of guests and stories and people who are doing wonderful things, both obviously here in Australia, but around the world when it comes to multiplication and church planting. And we, as you know, on behalf of Exponential, we love to use the phrase that we want to make church planters the heroes, particularly as we need to see many more churches planted. And our guests today are definitely not dissimilar to that adage. It is a great joy to welcome to the podcast today. We have Jules and Rich, all the way from Perth, WA, Mandurah, leaders and planters of Passion Church. Guys, it is so wonderful to have you on the podcast with us today.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Charlie. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to just share our journey, I guess, with Passion Church as well. So thank you.
Yeah, totally. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So good. Well, guys, we love to get to know our guests. So even before we get into some of the Passion Church journey and just kind of some of what preceded that and your heart for the church and the church that you planted, tell us a bit more about your life, your family, where you found yourself up until today. Have you guys always been in Perth? Give us a bit of a thumbnail sketch about your life.
Yeah. So Rich and I actually met in high school.
We did.
In Rockingham, which is probably about 25 minutes from Mandurah. So we grew up there, met in high school, and then kind of just grew up together. So initially kind of went through to uni, and we're both teachers by trade.
Yeah, awesome.
Pre-church planting, and then kind of did some country years. We lived in Kalgoorlie and Albany. Then we went back to Kalgoorlie for a little bit, and then we've actually now got 4 kids as well, 4 beautiful girls.
Growing the church one by one.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
That's why I go to church for sure.
That's it, because we had 2 before church planting, and then since starting the church planting journey, had another 2. So,
gosh, can I tell you, it's an entirely different podcast, but that is such a common story as I connect with other church planters. The amount of people who spiritually and biologically give birth as they're planting a church.
Absolutely. And Pastor Joel mentioned that to us when we fell pregnant with our 3rd. He's like, you're giving birth in the natural and in the spirit.
Yeah.
So we're like, you could have told us that before we started.
Yeah, that's right.
But she's an absolute blessing.
Yeah,
so.
totally.
Wow. So good. And so tell us a little bit more. You were teachers. As I understand it, you were kind of, was it like deputy principal roles? There was some, you guys were doing some great stuff before you stepped into, I guess, planting a church.
Yeah, so we both started out as teachers, then deputies, and then actually principals.
That's right.
Schools. Yeah, so lots of, I think the leadership that we learnt as principals is just exactly what we needed for Passion Church as well. So, so we both worked in ed support.
That's right.
As well. So, so for children, catering for kids with disabilities.
Incredible.
As well. So, yeah.
Which I'm sure we're going to get to that, but I'm sure that also speaks to your heart for the community and the opportunities that would have been all around you in terms of really kind of practically and spiritually serving the neighbourhood that you find yourself in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, it's great. One of the things that I love to ask church planters, and maybe because it's like a common trauma that I have as a church planter myself, is I love to hear, I guess, the story or the moment or the thing that immediately preceded your call to plant a church, like the thing that just kind of, it was God's call. It was the thing that got you over the line. That was the moment that you knew. Every story is different, but we love to just offer that to our listeners today. Tell us about the moment that you guys felt called to plant a church.
Yeah, totally. It's such a big question, but look, I guess for us, having young kids and that type of stuff, it wasn't, a big moment at a conference or anything like that. For us, it was getting in the car and driving around Mandurah foreshore, and we love the waterfronts, like we love the beach, all that sort of thing. But I think it was driving through this city that we love so much, and I guess seeing people from every different walk of life and just having those conversations like, how could we reach these people for Christ? Like, what would like? And it was just these really beautiful moments. Like, our heart was stirring, but it was those organic conversations, like how could we reach people in this city? And I guess it's almost like our love for Jesus was rising, but our love for the people in our city was just rising. And how could we do that? So I guess from there, it just went from conversations. And once God puts that stir in your heart, it doesn't go. It's one thing I've learned. You try to kind of put it down and ignore it, but it keeps feeding. Those conversations keep coming, and I think you just keep dreaming big with God. And it didn't go away, and we knew that was God. So it's driving around Mandurah. It just inspires you to plant a church. What can I say?
Yes. Jules, did you have anything else you want to throw in there? Give us your version of the events. I mean, I'm sure it was something that you both went through as individuals, but also as a married couple. Like, God confirms those things differently.
Yeah, absolutely. So I took longer to say yes. So I was the disobedient one. I'll be honest. I was kind of going, nope, I didn't marry a pastor. That's not my plan. But then God, I think it was the drives though, because God was talking to us. And then there was lots of prayer time, lots of conversations between Rich and I. And then it was just stopping and actually just listening to God. And then it was just that moment when it was, I think I ended up coming out to Richard going, you know what, let's just do this. Like, let's just be obedient and let's do this. And then Richard, let's go. And then he's a bull at a gate sometimes, which is a good thing.
It's time to go.
Let's not muck around. Let's get into this thing.
Absolutely. So, so I think for me, it was about, I had to switch. I had to kind of go, no, I need to stop being disobedient and I need to be obedient to God's calling for us so we could impact our city. And once it was that step of faith to say yes, haven't regretted it at all. So full faith and trust in God.
Yeah.
I heard a quote this week from Christine Kane that said that delayed obedience is just disobedience in slow motion. And I heard that and I was like, oh, gosh, how often has that been true of my life? And particularly as God does begin to stir things in our heart, he's actually looking for people that will respond to that. I'd love to hear more, I guess, of the details of how it came about for you in terms of, were you guys part of a existing church beforehand? You guys have planted with Harvestnet, so we love Harvestnet. Pastor David, Pastor Joel Chalaya, just the history of Harvestnet is a beautiful story in our nation and clearly a wonderful example of a network that helps to plant more churches. Tell us about that process and how that started and I guess some of the strengths of planting with Harvestnet.
Yeah, great. So we actually come from a different denomination originally, so we're with a different movement. So we were exploring church planting, but we just had this calling for the heart of Mandurah. And there was already an existing church in Mandurah there as well. But our pastor said, you know what, like, we're happy to release you. This is a calling on, like, that you have on both your lives. Like, we're happy to release you. So then Rich actually was just Googling church planting and then come across Harvestnet.
Wow.
Know where to start, so yeah.
So it's come from Google.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, that's right.
And then from there, Rich reached out to Harvestnet, and then Joel organised a meeting initially online. It was during COVID.
Wow.
As well. So then we kind of, Rich started the meeting with Joel because I was in a meeting with the DG for the education department going through the COVID rules for the year. So then I come like fumbling into this meeting going, I'm so sorry, Pastor Joel. I gave the DG the flick because you're more important. And then just from there, it felt right. We just knew God's hand was on it. Then we went through the process through Harvestnet, so doing the application, the interview there as well. And then from there, that's just when they wrapped around and absolutely supported us step by step, just making sure that we had like the governance right, had everything in place. But then at the same time, there was so much flexibility because every church has its own flavour. It has its own way of building as well.
Yes.
So they were there just as mentors, as coaches, lifting us up, the whole process there as well, which is great.
And I think, like the process was there, the framework for church planning was there, but the relational side was just incredible. We felt like we stepped into a family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We could ask those questions, where we could call for support, and it was incredible. Absolutely.
So good. Jules, you just mentioned there that, obviously every church planting journey is different. There's no one way to plant a church. Of course, there's principles and there's methods and there's biblical things that we can, see within the scriptures. And yet, obviously, there's a uniqueness to every church that is planted, just like there's a uniqueness to the way that God has fashioned and made each and every one of us. You guys have talked a bit about, I guess, the humble beginnings of Passion Church. Tell us about how you guys started or launched or organically grew. What did that look like from the get-go as you guys got started?
Yeah, so we started off just with Rich and I and our two eldest daughters. So just the four of us.
It's our launch team.
It was. So to be honest, right back from the start, we tried some of the traditional ways of church planning, like with the interest nights, kind of getting people to come to our home together. But we weren't quite having the traction there as well. We did grow a small team from those events and those times of fellowship together. But then it was kind of, we're just praying on it, and then we just went, you know what, let's rip the Band-Aid off, let's roll up our sleeves and do God's work. So then we just started doing Sundays. We just went, you know what, we're just going to start a 10 a.m. service, and does not matter how many people rock up, because when there's two gathered there as well. So we kind of just started. So I think for Richard's very first preach, there was 3 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
But look, our mindset was every Sunday is going to be Vision Sunday. Every time there's a guest, we're going to say the heart of Passion. Yeah. This is where we see God leading it, and we're going to be faithful. And, whether it's 3, 5 or 5,000, it doesn't matter. We're going to have that same heart. We're going to have that same passion, and we're just going to go. Yeah. And that's what we did.
Yeah. So good, guys. And I wonder particularly, it sounds to me, because Passion has started with such a heart of humility, such a heart of wanting to, as you rightly say, whether there's 5 people or 5,000 people there, how do you feel like that's really kind of been baked into the culture of Passion? Like, as you guys continue now, because what year did you guys first, I guess, take that first Sunday?
So that would have been in 2022.
Wow.
But then we officially launched in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as you guys have continued with that kind of heart of anyone who rocks up, we've got that heart to kind of want to reach and connect with people. How has that been baked into the culture of what Passion's about today?
Look, I think it's being thankful for what we have, loving everything that we have. You can kind of have that mindset, it's not here or it's not there, or this isn't the facility. We can say, you know what, we love this facility. We love this season that we're in. And also too, like, just communicating, to our people, these are the moments where we can say, hey, do you remember when? Do you remember when we gathered in the Billy Dow Youth Centre with 12 people? Do you know what I mean? And that's right. And then we could talk into where it is that God's leading us to go. Yes. So I think it's a mindset thing, going, this is an awesome, let's celebrate this season that we're in, because we're never going to be in it again.
Yeah.
So let's just own it. Let's just love it. What can we learn from it? And it's about loving what you have in your hand. And I think that's what we've done and what we'll always do we keep going.
And I think particularly for church planters who obviously are entrepreneurial, are wanting to get out there and, like you say, a bull at a gate. And yet sometimes it can also feel like, how do you even get this thing started? Like how do you, I remember for us, just to tell a wee bit of our journey, on our very first Easter Sunday, honestly, it felt like it was Good Friday, because there was about 4 people and a dog there. And sometimes we need to tell more of those stories, and that it just felt like, what are we even doing? And yet God's kindness and faithfulness, as we feel called by God to be obedient to what he's asked us to do, we just really want to kind of tell those kind of stories to other potential church planters too, because sometimes it can feel like a huge risk. Am I going to be a failure? Well, is stepping out in faith a failure? I don't think so. Actually, it's doing what God's asked us to do. But I'd love to dive into, like, you guys have, particularly on your website, and you can see this and hear this even from your story as former principals working with those who had disabilities. You've got this huge heart to see, God's restoration in people. And as you guys have kind of sought to really love on your community, you got God's heart for Mandurah. Your heart broke for what was breaking his in the area, and you wanted to connect with and love people. What does that look like for you guys, like in a church context, whether it be on Sundays, whether it be in life groups, community groups, whether it be in healing, transformation? Give us some of that insight.
Look, I don't think it's, there's one way or any formula. I think, I think what it's been for us, we've kind of had this mindset. It's such an honour to minister to anyone. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how broken or what the story is. We've kind of found as we've lent into people's story, as we've heard, what it is they've come from, if we always have this sort of posture of we're going to journey with you, like no matter what it is, no matter what the trauma is, no matter what the background is, no matter what the addiction is, like if we can journey with you, if we can find that pathway for you, we're in it. And I think that's been our thing, is we're in it with you. And no matter what it looks like, how messy it gets, how real it gets, we're like, praise God, because that's what the healing journey is about. Yes. It's about how real it can get. Yeah. So we always say to people, we can't disciple a sort of version of you that you're projecting. We need to know the real you. We need to know what it is you're journeying through, so that we can champion you, so we can, put in those supports and that wraparound around you for whatever that's going to look like. And what we found is that means trust needs to be built. That means trust within church, trust within leadership and that type of thing. And coming from those humble backgrounds, the advantage that we had is we got to build strong relationships very, very quickly. And when you build strong relationships, the trust goes up. And as the trust goes up, the way that you're able to help and love on people, that goes up as well. So we just saw it as a privilege, and we still do, to be able to journey with people. So it's this two-way sort of relational street that we have. There's no method or anything like that. We're just like, hey, let's do this. Let's have those real conversations, and let's see God work. Let's see what it is that He can do in your life. And and I think that's kind of contagious. We always say, we want to see lives transformed, but we don't want it to be some gimmicky sort of thing. It's something that, hey, we're available for you, and we are going to love on you. And whatever that looks like, we're here. Yeah. We're ready. So that's always will be.
It's great. That's clearly infectious in what you're saying, Rich. I wonder, Jules, if there's a version you'd tell as well. Like, how's that look like for you as you've been connecting with people in the community and loving on them?
I think even when we're doing our community-based programs and ministries, we always say to people, we're just there to show them the love of Jesus. So it does not matter what walk of life they have had, whether they rock up with shoes or no shoes or whatever it is, clean, not clean, it does not matter, because it's about sharing the love of Jesus and walking alongside them. So we're not here to judge, we're not here to anything, we're here to lift people up and walk alongside them there as well. So, and it's about, for us, it's that relationship. So it's about, no matter what background you come from or what past you have, it doesn't matter, because Jesus loves you, and we're just going to show that love of Jesus back at you. Yeah. So good.
And you mentioned some community initiatives and programs that you guys do or are a part of. Talk to us more about that. Particularly, I wholeheartedly agree to have a weekly rhythm has clearly been the biblical way in which we connect with people in our area, and we provide opportunity to experience biblical teaching and the presence of God and all that kind of stuff. But what about ways in which you've been trying to mobilize people to go and reach those outside of the four walls of the church?
Yeah, totally. Look, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit. When we did get into our building, we found ourselves right in central Mandurah.
Wow.
We always had a heart for, going out and doing community programs, but we had people rocking up on a Sunday saying, hey, you guys are a church. I'm hungry. Do you have food? So, right away we started, just gathering, just saying to our group, hey guys, we need some Domino jars. We need some bacon, all that sort of thing. Yeah. So we found a few suppliers and we started putting some hampers together. However, here's the interesting thing, because we were a church right in the heart of Mandurah, a lot of people would not come into a church to have a hamper, to do anything like that. So basically, I started getting a small team and we just started hitting the streets. And we said, hey, we've been donated all this. We've got a huge supply. Can you do me a favour and take it off my hands? Hey, I'll just show you where it's at, where you can pick it up.
Wow.
So we did that and we started getting people in. I think we did 6 hampers the first time, but we found once we started doing that and building relationships, once we sort of hitting the streets, talking to people, that type of stuff, they started coming on into our Davey Street property.
Wow.
So we kind of thought, what else can we do? Because we want to build relationships, right? It's like giving someone a hamper is not going to build a relationship, although it is, being loving and that type of stuff. So we thought, how can we get people to come, to stay, to have a cuppa, to know that the local church is a safe place to come? So right out the front of the building, we started doing free sausage sizzles. We started, giving out free coffees, doing that type of thing. Started getting a small team who could sit down and talk to people and that type of stuff. And we had this mindset of it. We're not trying to convert people in this moment, but what we are doing is we're going to live life with them, and we're discipling them before they've even chosen Jesus. Do you know what I mean? Before they've made that decision, we're having discipling conversations, we're having kingdom conversations. And again, it was that thing that as trust was building, the people kept coming and they would bring their friends over and they'd be like, hey, this person's got something. Hey, pastor, can you have a chat to you? All that type of thing. And it was even to the point of, it was like, I'm going to hospital. I don't believe in the Jesus stuff, but hey, I'll let you pray for me. It was that type of thing. It was like, oh, okay, if I have to. Do you know what I mean? It was done very relationally, very, very organically. And look, it was to the point where it was our Thursday outreach, as we're calling it, but it grew to the point where we couldn't keep it in that building and we had to go to a local Uniting church.
Amazing.
We had a bigger facility, and before you know it, we had a hairdresser coming to volunteer. We had Orange Sky, another organisation, came doing laundry and free showers. We had another local organisation that deals with housing and referrals called Peel Connect. They came over. Then we started having uni students coming over, being placed with us. And now we've got this thing right in the middle of Mandurah with a huge facility, and people are just coming and people are flowing, and it's just a beautiful thing that's happened. But it came from 6 hampers hitting the streets, no one coming to the church, to now they're lining up, wanting to come in. So and I think on that as well, yes, we've had some transferred to church, but we've had some of the guests that come on a Thursday go, this is our church. Yeah.
And stuff. So we've kind of gone, you know what, that's church their way. They're coming for those conversations, for prayer as well. So for us, the fact that they're now kind of going, this is our church, this is how we do church each week, has been absolutely amazing to be a part of as well.
Yeah. And also too, it's like you said, some of them, absolutely consider Thursday their church, but then some will be like, hey, can we be part of the volunteer team? Do you know what I mean? And then a lot of things we say, yeah, that's absolutely fine, but we do devotions and we do prayers. No worries. And then once they kind of get into the team and get used to it, there's an expectation that, hey, I'm coming in for a devotion, I'm coming in for the prayer meeting. Do you know what I mean? So if I was to forget to do it, they'd let me know, which I like. So it's absolutely incredible. And then it goes from, then we start rostering people to do their first devotion. Do you know what I mean? And it's just been this beautiful thing that's just grown, and it's
so good, guys. That's both, such an inspirational thing to hear. Clearly a way that you guys have considered deeply the needs of your community and how you're reaching out to those who are physically hungry, spiritually hungry. But even that last comment that you made there, Rich, and this is where I'd love to take the conversation next, is particularly around how you guys have been considering, I guess, leadership development and kind of coaching leaders. You used the kind of example there of, folks who may not even yet be Christians, and yet they're coming into a devotion. At some point, they may be even leading a devotion. They're coming to know Jesus. They're being discipled to faith rather than from faith, which is the way that Jesus actually modeled how to do that in the Gospels. Tell us about how you guys are just kind of considering, how you're raising up leaders in terms of the context of your ministry.
Yeah, look, for me, it's something Jules and I, we both love leadership and we love this conversation. But for me, I always see, and I know it sounds a bit cliche because we're called Passion Church, but when I see someone with a passion for something, well, I'm going to say it, like when people have a passion for something, they put their whole heart into it. Like they're going to be on that team whether you like it or not, because their heart's totally into it. And you can see people with, you know, whether it's kids ministry, whether it's worship or whatever, the different team or expression it is, you can see people when they start talking about their team, like their eyes light up, the tone of their voice will change. So there's a passion in it. And when we recognize somebody has a passion for something, we believe that's God-given. We believe that's not something you can sort of just instill into someone. I believe God just, plants people in the right place, gives them a passion for it. And when you see that, I think from there, that's where the leadership conversations, you know, start to happen. And that's where we start to identify people. But when I see someone that's passionate about packing a hamper, man, they're going to be in that team, or, you know what I mean? Or really passionate about the kids hearing gospel, like, you know, like, and you can just feel it. I think it's a really intangible thing. And when someone has that spark, I believe God breathes on it. I just believe it's from that point that things happen. And when someone has a passion and has a spark for something, you know, we always, you know, John Maxwell talks about, you know, leadership is influence, you know what I mean? But influence often comes from that passion for something, because people can feel it, they can feed off it, people know if you want to be there genuinely or not. Do you know what I mean? And if that's your foundation and God's put that passion there, you can raise up some absolutely incredible leaders. And I think that's something that we've been really blessed with at Passion, is identifying leaders like really early on, people who have the vision, people who have a passion for their areas and are developing other leaders.
So good. Jules, what about yourself? As you know, I'm sure it's a very kind of similar sentiment, but maybe those who have been overlooked in leadership as well, maybe those who haven't been given the opportunity. Would you say it's been a similar journey for you as you've been kind of raising up people around you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me as well, it's about if they've got that passion for something, then let's build on that there as well. So part of our mission statement is about purpose as well. So what is their God-given purpose there as well? So for us, it's about that early identification because we know that we can build leaders. There is, or give them the tools as well. So we also too look for like the fruits of the spirit as well, like the character there as well. So for people to kind of go up to like, I guess, the more advanced kind of leadership kind of roles within the church, for us, we've really got to focus in on the character there as well. But this year, actually, we've started a leadership academy within the church as well, which is absolutely amazing, just to be able to identify those early leaders and then kind of go through this 4-week program. And then from there, we kind of introduce them to like a mentor that from one of the current leaders in the church. We've coaching them as well, but they get it like a ministry project or a new initiative within the church as well, because we don't want to stay stagnant either. And so for us, we're kind of going, how can we make this kind of the church to keep moving along the vision that God's put on our hearts? But we know that it's going to take people, and God's given everybody different gifts there as well. So for us, it's about grabbing onto those gifts and then just supporting them in that leadership journey to be able to build them there as well. Have that influence and then grow the church as well, like their ministries as well, but bring other people along the journey. Because one of our sayings we always say to our leaders is we want you to be replaceable. So we always need you to be identifying the next leader, building them up in your team, because we want your role to shift there as well. So what you're currently doing now in 6 months or 12 months or 2 years' time, we want it to look different there as well. So it's not just Rich and I doing the early identification for leaders. It's our whole leadership team there as well, which has been, I think, pinnacle for us as well, which has been great.
Love that. Guys, I'd love to bring us to our final question, which is, and, you know, I particularly love to ask this of church planters, those who are in the trenches doing the hard work. And, of course, it takes a a certain type of person to plant a church. And of course, we could talk about a whole range of different models and methodologies and all that kind of stuff. But I love to ask church planters to just kind of share, just considering who could be listening today. Maybe someone who has been thinking about church planting for a long time or a short time. Maybe they're very early in their considering, could God be calling me to plant a church? And of course, you guys have had a wild ride the last couple of years. What would you say to someone on the other end of this podcast, just beginning to sense that call, sense that heart? If you could look them in the eyes and exhort them in the Lord, what would you be saying them today?
Yeah, look, what I would say is you don't wake up one morning for no reason thinking about or talking about church planting. Like, it is such a niche call. So when you start even considering it, I really believe that it's almost confirmation of God. Do you know what I mean? Because when that starts happening, and I'm one of these people, like, I'm just like, yeah, go for it, do it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, when you step in to what God has called you to do, you never regret it.
Yeah.
Like, and as cliche as it sounds, like, you're never alone in it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's that first time when there's only a handful of people or the room's full, whatever it is, like, God is always there with you. So if you're getting that sort of that sort of sense that God's calling you to church, like, just step out,
come on,
do it, and like, don't have hesitation. Mm-hmm. Like, get rid of the hesitation. Don't worry about comparison. It's almost like, don't overthink it. Just step out and go. That's my advice anyway.
Come on, Jules. How about you?
Mine comes back to obedience. Be obedient. If God's called you to do it, honestly, like, be wise about it as well. Seek counsel, have those conversations, but don't dismiss what God's calling you to do, because he's called you for a reason. And for the area that he's calling you to, it's you that he wants to place there to have that impact on that community as well. So for me, it's about roll up your sleeves, have faith there as well. Rich always talks about early now, or even now, I guess, is that gap. Like, God will give you exactly where he's going to position you in the community, what he's wanting from this church. And when you roll up your sleeves and take that first step, I think we initially kind of went, we're going to have this transformation center and we're going to have this and that. And then all of a sudden it's like, we got 3 people there as well. And we actually call it the gap. Like, you know what? Like, be okay in the gap. Like, be thankful for because there's lessons in every step of church planting, and it just grows you as well. So honestly, just roll up your sleeves, say yes, and be obedient, and just listen to God and just go for it.
And for those people thinking about those early days, those pioneering days, you look back fondly, like we talk about, like, 3 people being there and we smile. We're not like, oh no, he's still crying over it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we smile about it. Like, that's one of the things that God used to mold us. And those are the stories when we've got a lot fuller room now, people smile and that type of stuff. And it's like, those are the incredible moments. So just know that when you step into it, it's going to be those things when you look back, and it may not seem like in the moment you're going to smile and you're going to go, wow, God was there. God was there. God was in it. So,
love it. Well, guys, we absolutely salute you in all that, you're doing and the way that God is using you at Passion Church. And like I said at the beginning of our conversation, church planters are the heroes. You guys are heroes. So thank you for taking the time out just to share some of your journey. And we so appreciate your time with us on the podcast today.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.